to the next point. We should ensure whatever we say is clear.
That means work is being done. We can see that it is in opposite direction.
Hello, listeners and viewers at home. It's good being with you again on yet another segment of the radio and television e-learning organized by the Ministry of Education, Kaduna State. My name, as always, is Mercy Bainta Kudi, your regular English language teacher. With me today is your sign language interpreter, Mr. Patrick Ishaya. Good morning once again. Today, we are going to talk on a very interesting topic, which is transition words and phrases. To begin, what is transition? When you are able to move from one point to another, the ability to move, transition. We all move. We all have reasons to move from one place to another for one reason or the other. So your ability to move, the process of moving is transition. So for our lesson today, we have an outline that we will follow. First, we'll begin with an introduction. Then we have a model essay. We'll move on to get the meaning of transition words and phrases. Then we'll talk about some categories of transition words and phrases with examples. Then we'll have our conclusion. And lastly, we'll round off with an assignment as always. So for our introduction, one of the primary goals as a writer is to present ideas in a clear and understandable way. This helps readers to move through complex ideas. You need to be intentional about how you structure your essay as a whole, as well as how you form the individual paragraphs that comprise it. This is in order to think through the challenges of presenting your ideas articulately, logically, and in ways that seem natural to your readers. So, if you need to write well, you need to be clear, you need to be logical, you need to be articulate. Why do we need to be all this? So that your readers will get your clear message, so that they will not be lost in the air, so that they will follow on your story, and thereby your message is delivered. Now, we have a model essay here, and it's an article titled, Children Drop Out of School, Reasons and Possible Solutions. Remember, our topic for today is transition words and phrases. You don't use transition words and phrases outside an essay. You need these words to connect. You need the phrases to connect one idea to another. Transition words or phrases are also called connectors. You need to connect. So let's run through our model essay. The rate at which children are dropping out of school nowadays calls for a big concern on the part of parents and the general public. It is in the light of this that I write this article for the school magazine, so that children still in school would see to the need to study hard enough to achieve their future desires. Having pondered over the issue with particular reference to my area here in Lawansin Surulere, the following have been observed as the reasons for this act. First, the poor economic power of parents makes it impossible to provide the children's school needs, thereby impacting negatively on the child in terms of academic performance, which makes them to willingly drop out of school. Apart from this, the need for quick and easy money easily lures the child into becoming a bus conductor, where he could earn quick money on daily basis. If he could collect this type of money and spend freely, the next thing would be a dropout and continue to receive such till he graduates to Agberu. That means a passenger seeker. Furthermore, child labor, to which most of the children found themselves, is also one of the reasons children drop out of school nowadays. Where a child lives with supposed parents or aunts, there is every tendency for such a child to drop out of school when he or she has a misunderstanding with the supposed parents, who consider the child's education as a waste of time. Where this happens, such a child drops out of school. Looking at this problem, the following would serve as solutions to it. Basically, where there is enough provisions of jobs to the people by the government and wealthy individuals, parents, especially the poor ones who have children in schools, will be empowered economically to cater for their children in terms of providing for them. Besides, supportive efforts by parents in providing extra efforts by employing good teachers for their children or sending them to a good extramural class to complement the schoolwork could be an added advantage. In addition, the issue of child conductors can be solved with the constant arrest of such children who should be taken to juvenile settlement centers where they would be made to complete their studies. Finally, efforts should be geared towards full-scale enlightenment on this social problem. Bola Adebola, Lagos. Now, for those of you following us on television, you will notice that some words have been highlighted in red. Those words highlighted in words are the words that we call transition words or transition phrases. They are the connectors that carry us from one idea to the other. They are the things that link the message together, and thereby you find a free flow in the communication between the writer and the reader. Now, meaning of transition words and phrases. Transition words and phrases show the relationship between sentences and paragraphs in an essay. Transition provides greater cohesion by making it easy, clearer, signaling how ideas are related to one another. Such words serve as bridges. Such words serve as bridges. Remember, I said such words serve as bridges that carry the reader from paragraph to paragraph. Now, when we say we have our transition words and phrases, we say they serve as bridges. Just remember where you need to go to a particular place and there is water everywhere. Where there is no bridge, crossing over to the other side becomes a problem. But where you have a bridge, you conveniently move from one point of the city or the village to the other. How do you move? You move via the bridge. The bridge is your channel, so it carries you across. So just like the bridge makes movement easy, that is how our transition words or phrases make it easy for us to connect ideas. So whenever you are writing your essay, remember your transition words serve as a bridge. Just remember your famous River Kaduna. Before you link the north to the south, you need to pass through River Kaduna. Otherwise, your aim, your mission will not be accomplished. So transition words, our word connectors, are very powerful. They serve as a bridge for any good writer to be able to put up a beautiful piece of essay. Categories of transition words and phrases. The following words and phrases, categorized by types of relationships, provide examples of some common and useful transition words and phrases. Such words and phrases, we use them in essay writing. Number one, when you are faced with a question that has got to do with cause and effects, you are expected to mention cause of something and the effects afterwards. So these connectors, they instigate consequence. When we talk of cause and effect, it instigates consequence. So you use phrases like, due to the fact that, consequently, for that reason, therefore, on account of. Due to the fact that, for that reason, consequently, therefore, and on account of. Remember when you are writing on cause and effects. Sometimes our questions come like that. Highlight on cause and effects. If a thing happens, what is the result? What is the aftermath? Cause and effect. 2, chronology. This means connecting issues in regard to when they occur. Connecting issues in regard to when they occur, which means this is telling us about time. When we hear when, adverbial of time, adverb of time. So remember time when we talk of chronology. There are times that you equally need to write, highlighting on time, when a thing happened, when it was brought into existence, when it was taken away from a particular person. So you just need to work on that. So you use transition words and phrases like whenever, in the meantime, until now, immediately, earlier. This is just to mention a few. Number 3, sequence. This shows logical arrangement in order of importance. Logical arrangement. You need to reason properly, arrange it in order of importance. Like in the family. When you are mentioning members of the family, who comes first? The father comes first. Next is the mother, then the first child of the family, the second child, and it goes in that order. So you mention things in order of importance. So you use transition phrases or words like in the first place, more so, likewise, again, also. That's talking about consequence. Number 4, when you make contrasts. When you make contrasts, most times the question will demand you to draw contrast between two things. It means you are focusing on the difference between these two. What's the difference between this and that? That's contrast. So in such a situation, use transition words like yet, otherwise, alternatively, on the contrary, or however. Number 5, comparison. This is connecting to things by suggesting they are in some way alike. When you compare, there are elements of similarity. There is something that brings them together, that makes them look alike. That's when you compare. You compare between a mother and a daughter, and that's why most times you tell her she looks like her mother. So you're comparing things that are alike. So you use phrases like in similar fashion, in the same way, in like manner, at the same time, or for the same reason. 6, location. Connecting elements according to where they are placed in relationship to each other. Talking about location. I am here, you are at home watching and listening. So we are talking about location. So when you need to talk about a location of a person, place, or thing, you use transition words as nearby, adjacent, opposite to, beyond, above. Next, number 7, clarification. This shows when you want to throw in more light on an issue. When you want to make people understand, when you want to open up and help everybody to get the message, you clarify. So you throw in more light on the issue. So you use phrases like, that is to say, to explain further, to rephrase, to put in another way. That is. Number 8, persuasion. Intending to make someone agree with your views. When you try to persuade, you make the person believe you, you make the person agree with what you are saying or what you are doing. So you use words like undoubtedly, of course, surely, indeed, decidedly. Number 9, illustration. This is connecting a general idea to a particular instance of an idea. When you illustrate, you connect a general idea to a particular instance of an idea. Here you use, for example, for instance, to show that, as an example, in the case of. Number 10, summary. When you are about rounding off, you summarize what you want to say. connecting all ideas in a nutshell. It's like bringing the whole of this room into a box of matches. So you summarize, you compress. Everything will become concise but brief. So you write in a nutshell. You use phrases like in essence, in brief, to sum up, in sum, in a word. 11, conclusion. That's wrapping up your story. You use words or phrases like lastly, finally, to conclude, in the end, and to round off. Using transition words and phrases is a way to guide your reader from one thought to the next. These are used in the past paragraphs as you move from one idea to another, as well as when you need to move your reader to the next paragraph. Transition words and phrases are like the links that help your writing flow. So they are the links when you need to flow. Remember, you use these connectors, you use these transition words, transition phrases. They make your writing flow. And once your connectors are placed at the right points, it makes it very easy for your readers to follow on with what you are doing. To include transition words and phrases in your work, always remember to do the following. 1, read and read wide. You don't wake up overnight and say you want to use transition words without reading. You need to read. You need to discover these words. You need to discover the phrases. You need to learn how to use them. You need to understand how they operate when you use them in passages. So you need to read and read well. Then keep transition in mind as you plan through your work process. Remember, you are not writing on the spot. You are bringing so many ideas together. So bear it in mind that you need a channel that will help you carry your readers from one point to the other. Remember, we did our illustration with a bridge. That is a very good means of channel of movement. So our transistors are like the bridge. So bear in mind the writing process. Always brainstorm. Do your outline. Make your drafts. Always do your revision. Then go through your work over and over again so that you will remove all mistakes, all errors. Proofread your work, edit it, because you need to present an error-free piece of work. When done that, write and do more writing. It's a continuous process. Keep writing. If you need to be an A English language student, you need to keep reading, you need to keep writing. You need to practice it so that the skill will be developed. So keep writing. It is a very good way to practice, and it will move you into mastery of the language. Then choose the right transition words and phrases. When you choose them, you now decide where to place them. Always remember the bridge. One idea, you have the other idea, there's no link. So bring your transition word to serve as the bridge that will connect these ideas. Transition words and phrases are powerful. Think of them as a thread that stitches a piece of clothing. You have a piece of clothing. The tailor will cut the material into shreds. But the transition words or phrases will now serve as the thread and the needle that will stitch the pieces together. And before you know it, you have a beautiful sundress there. So that is the work of transition words and phrases. They provide uniformity and cohesion to essays in particular. Always start your presentation with a healthy outline. What do you want to tell the people? So you need to outline the ideas. You need to outline the message. Once the outline is healthy, your message is, your writing is half done. So remember to always have a healthy outline. when I say healthy here, some of you will think I'm talking of an outline that is free from malaria or something. We are not talking about malaria here, but your ability to put the right words, the right message together at the right place and at the right time is what makes it healthy. So this will give you an idea of where you need to place your transition words or phrases. Always remember, transition words and phrases are bridges that show relationship between sentences and carry you from one paragraph to another. Now, that's our thread and needle. You just need it to stitch, This thread and needle here illustrates your transition words. Remember, I illustrated where you have the tailor that cuts the material into shreds. All you need to do as a good English language student, get your transition words and begin to sew these things together. Begin to use the right ones and you are good to go. And we still have our bridge here. Remember, your transition, your bridges, everything is flowing. Where you have the water without the transition words, it is a problem. If you tell me where there is no bridge, you use a canoe. A canoe is also a transition word because you need the canoe to transport you from this side of the river to the other side of it. So either the bridge or the canoe, both are transition words. So my viewers and listeners at home, as you go about writing your various types of essay, always remember that every information, every idea that you come along with is always, all the ideas are in pieces. So you need to remember to use your thread and needle the right way. Get the pieces, use your thread and needle and stitch the ideas together. When you are done stitching, remember your bridges. They will further carry you to a better destination and it keeps moving. With this, my learners, we have come to the end of today's lesson. But before we go, I have an assignment for you. And it says, mention 3 categories of transition words and phrases you have learned and give 2 examples for each category you mention. Remember, we talked about 11 or so categories: cause and effect, summary, illustration, sequence, logic, so many of them. So, as you remember, mention 3 of these categories and give examples for each category you have mentioned. References. Please endeavor to always go through your Roundup English, Longman, Lagos, 1998 by O.O. Idowu et al. 2. A1 English Language, West African Books, Lagos, 2006 by Dele Ashodi. I'll take the references again. Roundup English Longman, Lagos, 1998 by O.O. Idowu et al. 2. A1 English Language, West African Books, Lagos, 2006 by Dele Ashodi. My name is Mercy Bainta Akude. My phone number is 080-250-25339. And your interpreter, as always, is Mr. Patrick Ishaya. Please remember to stay home, stay safe, and keep learning. That's for those of us that are home not writing WAEC. For those writing WAEC, please remember to observe the COVID-19 guidelines to enable you to be safe wherever you are. So keep learning until I come your way again.